Welcome to another Shadow PC gaming video. So we're going to be taking a look at Hyperscape running on a Shadow Cloud PC on our Boost package with the Intel 4-core 8-thread CPU, the Quadro P5000 GPU, 12 gigabytes of 2400 megahertz RAM, a 256 gigabyte SSD, and we're mostly going to do 1440p resolution. There's a couple reasons for that we'll go over here in just a little bit, and we're also going to do a quick comparison to the RTX 2060 build I have here with the Ryzen 3600 to show you the CPU bottlenecking that Shadow has, although it is definitely not a deal breaker and still does a very good job. I just want to highlight that a little bit in this video. So hang with me. There's going to be a lot of information in this video. So here's our Shadow right here on our desktop. I'm showing you our stream, my latency. That's pretty typical from me. And we're running 1440p, 144 FPS, variable refresh rate. Shadow does a great job of being able to do that with high refresh rate monitors. We've got our Xbox controller plugged in, and I'm not using any other USB devices. And I'm capturing everything on Shadow from my local PC. So here we are, booted into like the little hub area that you have for yourself. We're going to bring up our MSI Afterburner there, and we're just going to run around and I'll show you this hub real quick, and then we're going to get into some comparisons with my local build first, and then some gameplay with Shadow. So this is the free battle pass right now, 23 days, a 30 tier free battle pass. There's where you can go load into a game. They've got a typical marketplace here, spend real money on currency and buy some items in the shop. And then a coming soon area over here, and that's pretty much it for your hub right now. You also have like a loadout area with your emotes and different things you can see over there, and a matchmaking area as well. Let's go into our settings and I'll show you real quick. We are full screen, 1440p, 144 hertz, even though my monitor can go 165. Shadow's at 144, and I'm running the very high preset, and this was the default. This is what the system defaults to. The reason it says custom is because I changed it from 60 FPS to 144. Other than that, we're running the very high preset. If you wanted to run those presets lower or tweak individual settings that are more CPU heavy, you can definitely get 144 FPS or higher out of this game at either 1440p or 1080p, no problem. But for this test and for this discussion, we're going to leave it at the default very high settings, 144, and we'll go through everything here. And one thing I want to show you that's going to start highlighting the bottleneck, you'll see it even more in the next area, but I'm just going to show it here a little bit real quick, is we're going to go in and we're going to change our resolution to 1080p, and I'll show you what happens. So there we go, 1080p, no other change. We're actually going to get a couple frames per second less than we do at 1440p. The reason for this is the GPU is not having to work as hard to render 1080p. So it's wanting information from the CPU and the RAM even faster. It's not able to do that very well, very efficiently. So even though the usage is up right now on the Quadro, you're not going to get more frames. You're going to see the frames per second go up when I do 1440p by just a little bit, because it's taking the GPU a little bit longer to render the frames. So it's giving time to the CPU to get the information there. So that's what's going on with that, and that's another reason why I will be running this at 1440p. And you're going to see this more evident in the next area, and we're going to compare it to my local build. I'm also just going to jump into a solo match, because this is only my second time in Hyperscape. Although I like the look of it, I'm going to spend some time trying to get pretty good at this game. But right now I'm horrible. This will only be my second time in here. So you can see right here, running at our 1440p in the 70s in our usage on our Quadro. Our CPU is getting hammered with all these people running around. I'm going to drop it to 1080p and show you the same thing that just happened before. Less usage on the Quadro and no more frames. That's because we are bottlenecked completely at the CPU level. Maybe a little bit on that RAM speed as well, but definitely on the CPU. So I'm just going to change this back to 1440p here real quick. And you'll see we're running just fine that way. A little bit more usage on our GPU, but you're not going to gain a lot. You do get those few more frames just like before. Now let's bring up a split screen. This is the RTX 2060 with the Ryzen 3600 and the Shadow. And you can see that frame difference right there in that screenshot. And that is, and the GPU usage. That's totally because of the CPU power right there. You get about 2,000 more points in Cinebench, like 3,500 with a Ryzen. Now, compared to the Xeon at 1400. So here, this is the RTX 2060 with the Ryzen 3600, walking around in the same area, and you can see that huge difference in FPS. You can see just the difference that the CPU power makes, because the RTX 2060, though a new architecture and does tend to run newer games better and at 10 to 20 FPS more, it's definitely not that much more powerful. This is the CPU doing this. And here you can see I'm not even at the same settings. I'm actually at ultra high instead of very high. I'm actually running even higher graphics here and getting much more FPS out of the game. So that's what's going on there. It's more all about the CPU power here. Shadow does have that against it, but it doesn't hinder you from gaming on it. It works great. I absolutely love Shadow. Here's RTX 2060 again, and Shadow doing a landing here for Hyperscape, and you can see again the difference here in your frame rate and your GPU usage, all due to the CPU part. So, but still fantastic performance for Shadow Cloud PC, and the game runs really well on it. I would recommend it for sure. All right, so we're just gonna we're done with the RTX 2060 comparisons. I just wanted to make that point for you guys and show you that running on my local build. Now we're just gonna land here. We're gonna get some gameplay going on for Shadow PC. It's not gonna be great gameplay because, like I said, this is only my second time going into a mission, but this game looks really fun. I usually have a lot of fun with battle royales, and I'm definitely going to spend some time with it. So go ahead and enjoy the rest of the gameplay here. See how this runs in some different areas, jumping around in the world in a couple different instances, and get an idea for the performance and what it's doing. And I'll catch you guys when we get towards the end of the video.
Left in Neo Arcadia. Hurry! 75 contenders left. Down to 75 contenders. 75.
Why not? Now we're talking.
Be alert, contenders. A sector has collapsed.
Busy? Now we're talking. This is all right.
Warning. Sectors will soon be collapsing. 50 contenders on the board.
Reloading. a bad shot.
Be alert, contenders. A sector has collapsed.
Loading more up. Step back.
Alright, so we're coming up on the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this gave you a good idea of running Hyperscape on Shadow PC. It runs fantastic, no complaints. I just wanted to highlight that CPU bottleneck. I do that a lot. A lot of my videos talk about the lack of the CPU power, unfortunately. But other than that, Shadow PC is a fantastic service. Thanks a lot for coming and check out this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Give the video a thumbs up. Ring that notification bell and leave me your comment below. Thanks a lot, and I'll catch you in the next video.